welcome back to Love Your Food. This week we have a pretty simple recipe for you. We're just doing a very basic steamed mussels, and we've got these beautiful fresh live mussels, and we're just going to steam these for you in a beautiful and simple white wine broth, basically. And we're going to start off. Here are our ingredients. So we're starting off, we have our beautiful mussels. We have some leeks, and as usual, these have been frozen. Some garlic, a small shallot, some tomato, and some white wine. And we have this beautiful dry Riesling from Trius. Whatever your favorite sort of dry wine is, white wine is perfect for this. You can also use beer. Now, we're going to start off by cleaning our mussels because we want to eat the broth. And sometimes these mussels, no matter how clean the shop gets them, sometimes they end up with little bits of dirt on them. Some of them have a little bit of the beard stuck on them still. So we're just going to give them a little brush, make sure they're good and clean, get any of the grit off of the outside of them, any little bits of beard or anything. And of course, this is also the time when you're going to sort of give an examination of your mussels. Now, we changed the water a couple of times, and even so, you can still see some of the grit that came off in the bottom. Your mussels are going to be dirty. It's just a thing that happens. Now, if any of them are open and refuse to close, any of them are cracked or broken or anything like that, it's safer not to use those. And no matter how good the supplier is, every once in a while you're going to find a couple of mussels in the group that are broken or that died sometime in transit. Don't eat those. Just throw them away. It's safer that way. So once our mussels are clean, we're going to start getting our mise en place ready. So we're going to cut up this leek. You can see here again, this is this really nice leek. It has been frozen. It's very easy to cut, and it has a really nice texture once it's been frozen and it thaws out in our broth. We're just going to toss those in on top of the mussels. Same thing with our garlic. We're just going to give that a rough chop. It doesn't need to look pretty or anything. We're just going to chop it pretty small to get a lot of, we want to extract a lot of that garlic flavor out of there. We want to make sure it's a little bit of sharpness. And in goes the garlic. Same thing with our shallot. We're just going to slice that pretty small. Really infuse that sort of bulby aroma into our wine broth. Some nice thin slices of shallot in there as well. And we'll just toss that in on top of the mussels. And now for the tomato. So we're just going to use, this is a pretty big tomato. We're only going to use half of it for the amount of mussels that we're making. So we're going to take half of that tomato and we're just going to sort of cube this. So we're going to slice it into panels and then into strips. And from the strips, we're just going to make it into, we're just going to dice it from there. And it does help to have a very sharp knife for this, and it'll stop you from squishing the tomato. If you want a little extra tomato richness to this, you can also add just a little tiny bit of tomato paste. And it just gives that little extra sort of boost of tomato flavor. So we're going to put this onto our induction burner, and you can see here we've got all of our ingredients on there on top of the mussels, and then next thing we do is just pour in our wine. So we have our beautiful white wine here. We're just going to toss that in. Now once this hits the burner, once this comes up to temperature, it takes very little time. So if you have side dishes, if you have anything else that you want to do while you're doing this, do make sure that it's ready because these take almost no time at all to cook. Mussels go very, very quickly. A little bit of salt. And a little bit of fresh cracked black pepper on there as well. And then we're just going to lid this. We're just going to cover it with a lid. We want these mussels to steam in that beautiful white wine. And there we go. Cover goes on. And once everything comes up to temperature, we're just going to give this a stir. So we want to make sure that those veggies do get down into the wine to cook a little bit more. But you can see already it's just come up to temperature, and some of these are already almost cooked. They've opened up, and the meat inside looks really, really nice. They're almost ready already, so we're going to open that up one more time. And you can see it just boiling away underneath there. That's that beautiful white wine with all of those vegetables in it. We're going to add a pat of butter just to add some richness and a little bit of that lovely, lovely butter flavor into the broth. We're just going to let that butter melt into there. So again, we're on our induction burner, so it's going to happen really quick. And you can see almost all of them have opened up. There were a couple that didn't open at all, so we didn't eat those. Once again, just to be on the safe side. Those ones may have died sometime in transit, so not necessarily safe to eat them. You want to avoid any that don't open during the cooking process. So once that butter is melted, these are ready to go. It doesn't take very much for them to cook. It takes very, very little time. And you can see we've taken it off the heat. The induction burner is off. And they're cooked. They're done. They're ready to eat. So we're just going to scoop some of that out. And you can do this a couple different ways. You can have one large bowl in the middle of a table and have everyone just sort of scoop into their own individual bowls. Or just serve it like this and have each person at the table can have an individual little bowl with a few mussels and some of the broth. We do recommend serving it with a nice crusty bread. We had this beautiful sourdough loaf. We served it with that to scoop up some of that broth afterwards. Absolutely delicious and super simple, and that's it. Really, really excellent. It's going to be great going into the summer to have this nice, fresh, sort of Belgian-style mussel dish, so we hope you'll give it a try. If you like this recipe, please do like and subscribe, and if you have any recipes you'd like to see Chef Caleb try on the channel, please let us know in the comments below. And remember to love your food.